everybody. It's been a bit of time since we've had real math class due to testing last week. And I'm going to be not in until Wednesday. So I wanted to make sure that we had a quick opportunity to do a recap of where we've been, just to get your head screwed back on straight when it comes to this Chapter 8 business. So the first half of Chapter 8 dealt with what are integers, which are positive or negative whole numbers. We also talked about what a rational number is. Rational numbers are any numbers that can be represented in fraction form. So fractions, decimals, whole numbers, as long as the decimal doesn't go on without repeating. And then we also talked about absolute value. And then after that, you took a short quiz on the first half of Chapter 8. We put that stuff to bed, and then we started the second half of the chapter. The second half of the chapter has dealt largely with the idea of inequalities. And that's where we had been. We had actually finished up we had finished up our final lesson just before we broke for state testing. And this is where we're going to pick up this week, recap, and then we're aiming for a quiz on Wednesday of this week. So just an overview of inequalities. The four inequalities that we spoke about, the first was this one. This is the less than symbol. Then we had this one, which is greater than. Then we had this one, which is less than or equal to. And then we had this one, which is greater than or equal to. These were the four inequalities. We looked at writing an inequality using one of these four symbols when given a sentence or a word problem, like a short word problem. And we also looked at graphing inequalities. So for example, if you had something that was less than or greater than, so if it was either of these two symbols, your graph is going to be on a number line. So let's say it was x is greater than 4. We would be at 4, make a very quick number line. And either of these two symbols are going to have an open circle. And then it just depends on the direction. If it's greater than, it goes to the right because it's all the numbers that are greater than 4 are solutions. If it's less than, your arrow would go to the left because it's all the numbers that are smaller than 4. For anything that's got the equal to symbol under it, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, instead of your circle being open, it's going to be a closed circle, and that indicates that the number that you're at is one of the solutions. It counts as one of the solutions, and then anything to the right or left. So if it was x is greater than or equal to positive 4, you'd have a closed circle at 4, meaning 4 is a solution, and then everything as well that's greater than 4 is a solution. The last lesson, which might feel a little foggy as well, is one I'll do a bit of a bigger recap on, and that was solving a basic inequality. We talked about the idea that solving inequalities is just as simple as solving equations. You use inverse operations. So for example, if you had the inequality x minus 3 is greater than 1, to figure out the solutions that x could be, you need to solve this using inverse operations. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm left with x is greater than 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. So that means that x can be any number that's bigger than 4. 4.1, 5, a million, 126, it doesn't matter. As long as it's bigger than 4, it is part of the solutions for x in this inequality. And then graphing that, we just went over, so I'm not going to do it again. Well, let's look at one more. 15 is greater than or equal to 6 plus h. To solve this, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, and I'm left with 9 is greater than or equal to h. I'm actually going to rewrite the inequality with the variable first, because that's just how my brain functions. I like to see the variable first. Both of these two inequalities mean the same thing. Technically, it doesn't matter how you write it. I prefer to write it with the variable leading first. And then you would graph your solution. So either way, the graph is going to be a closed circle on 9, and everything that is less than 9 makes H true. So 8, 7, negative 20, doesn't matter. Anything less than or equal to 9 will work. All right, same thing for multiplication and division. If you've got x divided by 5 is less than 2, to solve this, the inverse of divide by 5 is multiply by 5. And so we'd be left with x is less than 10 is our solution set. We would graph that on a line, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do that part. If you had 4 times n equals 32, to solve that, you're going to divide by 4 on both sides and be left with n is greater than or equal to 8 as your solution set. Graph it and move on with your life. So, I mean, this is a quick recap. We looked at word problems as well, which we'll do one together, and then I'm going to get you to practicing a little bit more. A one-way bus ride is $1.75. On the other hand, you can buy a 30-day bus pass, which is $42. When is the 30-day pass a better deal? So whenever you're looking to see when something is a better deal, that's when that thing is cheaper. So it's $1.75 per ticket. On the other hand, you could buy one 30-day pass, which has unlimited rides, for $42. We want to know, when is this going to cost more than, so when is that going to be greater than the $42? When this happens, when this inequality is true, then that means that the bus pass is a better idea. As soon as I'm buying too many tickets and it's going to cost me more than $42, then why would I buy the tickets? I should just buy the bus pass. So we can solve this by doing a one-step division problem, 42 divided by 1.75. So divide by 1.75, and you're left with not equals, oops, greater than. So as soon as my number of rides is greater than 24, as soon as I'm buying more than 24 single tickets, like if I'm going to buy 25 rides, stop. Don't buy single tickets anymore. You should be buying the 30-day bus pass. That's when the bus pass is a better deal. So something is a better deal when it is less than the other thing. So when 42 is less than 175 times the number of tickets I buy, that's when it's a better deal. Anyways, I'm going to give you a chance to do some practice on your own. I'm going to have an answer key set up for you, and just getting some practice in, and then a study guide tomorrow, and then we'll review things on Wednesday before a super minor short quiz just to get through this chapter and moving on with our lives. So have a great day. I'll see you when I'm back. If you've got questions, I'll be checking email frequently, so feel free to shoot me over an email, and I'll send you any help that I can from afar. See you, people.